I've been working my way towards Alan Wake 2 for a while, and I finally got started on it the other night. It was suitably late when I started playing, and that proved to match the game's creepy opening well. One of the biggest differences so far is that the game feels a lot more horror, kind of gruesome. I'm not a huge fan of really bloody and violent stuff, but like the new character Saga, I'm certainly in it for the mystery. Taking control of an FBI agent with the field agent windbreaker on and digging into a crime scene out in the woods of the Pacific Northwest was definitely a cool fantasy as an old fan of the X-Files. The visuals and sound design were also immediately noticeable. The game looks fantastic, especially the environments. The character animations during real-time dialogue and interactions were also pretty amazing, with some characters standing out more than others perhaps. The sounds of the forest and the diner in town once I arrived back at Bright Falls were believable and enveloping. The creaking of wood, shifts of water, rasping of leaves and grass in the wind. Having just finished Control, the gameplay here was certainly a shift back toward Alan Wake in comparison, but it also felt different, more survival horror. I haven't seen any action or combat yet, but this was definitely a promising vibe in my book, and what I was hoping for. One of the big new gameplay mechanics already developing is how investigations play out, the collection and piecing together of clues through a visualization of Saga's reasoning process. So far, this seems straightforward to do. I'm not sure I'd expect it to get too much more complex either, which seems okay, since it's a nice narrative device that brings you closer to the character and emphasizes details of the story by having you make sense of them a little more actively than just seeing them play out in front of you. It helps the narrative remain prominent, even when just out exploring and discovering things. The Mind Place also gives you an opportunity to review anything if you need to jog your memory. I like features like this, just like in Final Fantasy XVI recently, because there's often quite a bit of time between when I have opportunities to sit down with a game. I think I appreciate it even more if it's done within the context of the game world. Profiling characters and suspects is one of the actions that Saga can perform with gathered information. These bursts of deduction stand out because of their importance, but also because Saga is able to derive very specific details about events based on just a few uncovered clues. How she knows things as precisely as she does seems like a little bit of a stretch. It serves to push the story forward, though. And finally, as I said earlier, mystery. There are already some good hooks in the story. There have been tons of references right off the bat to familiar characters and details from previous games. Alex Casey, Agent Nightingale, Sheriff Breaker, even if not the Sheriff Breaker, and a very unsettling encounter with Rose at the Oh Dear Diner. There's already been a visit to Cauldron Lake, and you can see the Cauldron Lake Lodge up on the ridge across from the initial crime scene. The Federal Bureau of Control seems to have a rather visible and public presence set up around the area. The iconography of the cult seemingly committing murders harkens back to the triangles discussed in Control. And I've just returned to Bright Falls, the diner, and the sheriff's station to take a look around, all familiar locales. Despite a little apprehension about how intense this adventure is going to be, I'm really thrilled and excited by what I've seen so far. I spent quite a bit of time exploring the initial crime scene area to get a sense of the game and what details exist around the main objectives. I did find some extras, but it was also slow, and I think I might just roleplay a little bit more, stick to things that seem natural to investigate and seek out, rather than scouring every nook and cranny. That can perhaps wait for a potential second playthrough, if I ultimately feel like I've missed some things. I can't wait to play more. I'm not sure how long this adventure will be, but rest assured whenever I have some more stuff I want to talk about, I'll be back with an update. As always, thanks for checking out the video, and until next time, take care.